Love books set in Paris? Me too. That's why I wrote Lost and Found in Paris, an art history treasure hunt with a touch of romance. Best-selling author Kristen Harmel said Lost and Found in Paris sparkles like the city of light itself and will have you flipping the pages quickly as you're drawn deeply into its mysterious world of art, intrigue, and redemption. Thank you, Kristen. Lost and Found in Paris by me, Lian Dolan, is out now. Available from William Morrow wherever books are sold.
You're listening to Satellite Sisters.
What's a satellite sister?
The person you call when the best thing in your life happens or the worst.
The person that gets you up, gets you going, and gets you through.
And every once in a while, changes your mind.
This podcast is part pep talk, part weekly check-in.
Like grabbing coffee with a friend.
Thanks for being here. Welcome to the Satellite Sisterhood.
You're listening to Satellite Sisters. We're glad you're here with us today. I'm Lian Dolan in Pasadena, California. I'm the youngest sister. I'm a writer and producer and happy to be here with my sisters today. Julie, what's happening there?
Hi, I'm Julie Dolan. I'm the oldest sister. I live in Dallas, Texas. I'm an urban nana. I have my grandchildren, a community volunteer, and a podcaster. What about you, Liz?
This is Liz Dolan. I'm in Santa Monica, California. I'm the middle sister. I'm a podcaster and a marketer. I'm very happy to be here with you two. And before we started the show, we did just want to say a few things about the Buffalo shooting. You know, we've been doing Satellite Sisters since April of 2000. And so there have just been so many times when we've had to ask ourselves after a mass shooting, what can we possibly say about this? You know, when Virginia Tech happened in 2007, we were live on the radio. This was our days on a news radio station live all over the country. We were live on the radio as the news started to come in that 32 people had been murdered there. You know, then Sandy Hook, you know, in 2012, a horrifying slaughter of children in a quiet town that was really just a short distance from where we grew up. And we had just been there, right, Julie?
Right. We had been up in Connecticut for our mother's funeral.
Yeah, it just felt very close. Then Charleston, the church shooting in 2015 was a vicious hate crime for which there are no words. The Orlando Pulse nightclub in 2016, another vicious hate crime. Then the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida in 2018. You know, when we talked about this a lot at the time, our longtime listener, Heather, lives there in Parkland, and her daughter was a graduate of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. Remember, we read her daughter's lovely letter on the air?
Yeah.
Like, you just don't even know where to go talking about these things. And then Las Vegas 2016, Lian, a friend of yours, was actually there and survived.
Yes, my friend.
Yeah. So, I mean, there are just so many more. And now there's Buffalo and, you know, another vicious hate crime for which there are no words. And yet we still struggle to find something meaningful to say.
Right. You would think after so many years and so many shootings that we would have some sort of comforting words to say, and we don't. This crime seemed particularly terrible to me. I mean, a grocery store, honestly, clearly racially motivated. People are just going in to pick up birthday cakes and, you know, a few things for Sunday dinner with their family. This just tore me apart. They all tear me apart.
But they all do in their own way.
Schools, grocery stores, a hair salon in Dallas, a Subway. I mean, it feels like nowhere is safe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the fact that it feels like, there's just nothing to do, which simply isn't true. That's also just beyond words. Mm-hmm. It's also beyond frustrating. Mm-hmm. It's beyond frustrating. So, we don't have any giant words of wisdom, but we wanted to acknowledge what happened in Buffalo. We're sure we have listeners in that area. That must be incredibly hard. You know, it's unbelievable to me is that by this point, there's probably not one person in the country that has not been directly affected by some sort of mass shooting. And, you know, we listed off a handful of things we felt like we had a personal association with, but everybody has that same list. It's just extraordinary that we've been through this over and over and over again as a country. It's just beating us all up and beating us all down.
Right. And we've said from the beginning of Satellite Sisters that the sense of connection is the most important sense we have. And so you think of all the people you're connected to, in all of these shootings, and all the people that are connected to those who died, and just our hearts break and our hearts go out because we are all connected.
So Buffalo, we just wanted to acknowledge that we're thinking of you, and that's all we can say at this time. All right, we are going to do a whole show. Some of it will be better news, but breaking news last week, I came down with COVID. So after 2.5 years of not getting it, I had to cancel my East Coast trip. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about that experience, but also just the grim news that 1 million Americans have died of this virus. Terrible news. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Julie, you have some international news from Russia. It's been a couple minutes since we've talked about Russia, but you have some breaking news from there.
I do.
And then we're going to turn things around. When I was homesick, Liz and Julie were off having the times of their lives.
We feel really badly for you, Lian.
We did.
No, you do.
That
We had
was
planned for all three of us. We're going away and having a great week, Lian. We did not know you would be quarantining at home.
Yeah,
I know. So we're going to hear about your individual trips. You have some tales to tell. I can't wait. We haven't really talked about actually what happened on your trip, so I'm always interested to hear this. We have a few entertaining sisters recommendations and a cooking with Liz announcement. So stand by. Whew, huge. All right. So Liz, you go first. What happened? Where'd you go? Tell us about your trip.
Where were you, Liz?
Okay. So you may recall that a few weeks ago, I mentioned on the air that I was going to a costume party that was a birthday party for my friend, Mark, my very dear friend, who is the son of Mama Capra, who we speak about a lot on Satellite Sisters. So anyway, this was a big birthday party for Mark, and he organized a big group of his friends. It turned out to be 17 of us.
Oh my
all
gosh.
went to St. Lucia in the West Indies.
Ooh, that sounds exotic and good, Liz.
I had never been there. I was very excited to go. So I flew to Miami. That's where Mark lives. And then there's one squad that was like the Miami squad. Then there was another team, New York. They were flying down. And then there were a few people from random places around the world. Out of the 17 of us, we were from 8 different countries. It was really very international. The fact that there were 17 of us all trying to converge on the same place and then be nice to each other for a whole week did remind me a lot of when there were very few times when we traveled as children, as a family.
That's true.
Because there were 8 kids in our family, and then our mother's twin sister had 9 kids. So when we went on vacation, we often went together. So that's the 17 kids and 3 parents scenario. This felt a little bit like that, because you think, okay, everybody has luggage, but luggage times 17 is a lot of luggage,
Yes.
especially because of the costume party. So, one last thing. And Team New York, they were taking off from Kennedy, and their plane like skidded off the runway because the brakes locked up. So they had to go back and start again. So they started with the whole drama. They were exhausted by the time they even arrived. So anyway, so we got there and it was really fun. It was this beautiful beach resort. But let me get to the costume party because I had pre-promoted that.
How did that?
I have one question about the beach resort, though. Can I ask?
Yeah.
Was the water warm and beautiful?
So warm, so beautiful. The Caribbean is everything it's cracked up to be, Lian.
I mean, I haven't been there in so long. I just have not been to the Caribbean. So I forget. Yeah. I'm used to just cold water.
No, it was very warm. It's also, we were in this sort of...
You should tell Lian it was cold until... Okay.
It was in this kind of bay where it was very easy, even with old Lefty, for me to get in and out of the water. Whereas if there had been too many waves, I'm not sure my balance would have sustained. But you know, when you come out of the water, there's always that last hump of sand that you have to like get up and over. Yeah. So I had trouble with that. So I got into the habit. I would just be standing there like at the edge of the Caribbean, waiting for somebody to walk by. I'd be like, hello. Just calling out to strangers. Could you just give me a hand here? I just need one solid shove to get it all over this last. So I was depending on the kindness of strangers to get in and out of the Caribbean. but otherwise delightful in every way. If it wasn't so far, Lian, I would suggest you go there. But I think we have Hawaii here on the West
I know
Coast.
we have Hawaii. I know.
Not
I
that
don't
I've
go-
been there in a million years.
Right. Me neither. Okay. Just sorry. I just wanted to ask about the water. It looks
No,
so beautiful.
Caribbean Sea, I highly recommend it for those of you who live on the East Coast. Okay, so the costume party was not a party at all. It was a costume photo shoot. This is what happens when you vacation with too many art directors and marketers. In this case, we had a professional photographer in the group and also a videographer who's also a drone operator. So he brought his drone on vacation.
Oh.
So now you know what you're dealing with here. And so I have to say, as proud as I was, remember the theme was we each had to dress as an island, and we were assigned what our island was. So some people got the sexy islands, Haiti, Jamaica, Bahamas. And some people like me got the very unsexy island like Ireland. So I was Ireland. And I'd shown you guys some of the elements of my costume. I would say my costume was high concept, but not as visually impactful as it needed to be when you're being shot by a drone 50 feet up.
Okay.
So, I had those earrings that had the quotes from James Joyce on them.
Yeah.
You can't really appreciate that from the drone footage.
Nice, Liz.
So I feel like I held my own when we were all just standing next to each other, but that there was no part of the photo shoot that really required that. We did, as a group, we avoided one near disaster. Wallace lives in Rio. His costume was seized at customs coming into St. Lucia because it had all of this like real foliage on it, like they were dried leaves, but it was, he had a big Carnival costume.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
Of course.
So it's like a grass skirt and a huge headdress and all of that. Customs would not give it up. Just would not.
Oh.
What a pity.
It took him 5 days of like going to the highest levels of authority in St. Lucia. And somehow he managed to, on Thursday, right before the Friday, get his costume back. So we were that took a lot of energy. So anyway, I'm going to post some of the photos in the Satellite Sisters Facebook group, and you'll be able to appreciate, these people were very crafty, very, the woman, Sophie, is from Denmark. So she was assigned to be the Faroe Islands. She made this adorable little like leather skirt and top. It was very, very Hunger Games is what I would say her look was, and much younger than me. So she was adorable. Cuba, Haiti. Anyway, people looked great. I looked okay if you were standing right next to me.
So were there prizes awarded at this costume party?
No,
okay.
There were no prizes. It was not a competition. And Mark, the birthday boy, he was Sicily. So he came as a Sicilian goat herder, complete with a stuffed goat.
Okay.
So, which even the drone footage could make out the goat. Anyway, so
I think there's some lessons learned for you, Liz, about costume parties. You have to consider drones in your
yes. I never anticipated the drone, but I think there's a lesson learned here for if you're organizing a big group activity, a costume party or even a costume photo shoot is really a good idea. It gives people one thing about vacations that are planned well in advance. They're more fun than the ones that you like at the last minute decide on a getaway. The fact that we all had 3 months to like think about this and plan for this made it even more fun than a regular vacation. So I recommend that. So then so this was what they call a wellness resort, which I would say it was sort of a fitness camp with cocktails is the way I would describe this place.
Okay, nice.
So for me, again, because of Lefty, I would just say so much water aerobics. I did water aerobics twice a day, every day I was there. It was so great. I loved being in the sea. I loved being in the pool. There was just a lot of good watery things that I can enjoy. But people were doing a lot of, they were doing some harder things. Anyway, but there was also a spa at these spa vacations. I found from the few times I've taken a real spa vacation, you always sign up for at least one very non-standard thing, right? Have you guys ever done that? Where you take,
Yeah.
you
Right.
Ayurvedic oils. I don't know what that is, but sure. Yes. Okay. Yeah, let's go for it. That might be something I need. So I tried reflexology because I had that once before and found it fascinating and kind of revealing, but also my poor left foot can use all the attention I can give it. Right. So, and even if I don't learn anything about my overall health, the fact that you're massaging my foot is fine with me. Anyway, so just 1 hour of people paying attention, a woman paying attention only to my feet. So here's reflexology is when they touch various parts of your foot and it tells them about other parts of your body and how you're feeling and what could use some work. So the conclusions from the reflexologist at the very end, she said this to me, 3 things. You are dehydrated, you are bloated, and you are anxious.
Oh, no.
Liz, that's a bummer.
But I think that's some serious science, Julie, because all of those things are true.
Right.
It's not like she told me anything that was false. 100%. Really, every person who touched me all week, any of them, they all told me I was dehydrated. So I knew that was coming. But bloated and anxious, yeah, okay. I'm going to cop to so I am home now with a wellness approach to try to increase my hydration and decrease the bloating and anxiety.
Okay.
So it's really a valuable vacation. There you have it.
Good work.
How can you be dehydrated? Or do you not drink?
I don't
a
drink
lot?
water. No,
Oh, well,
that's how.
Yeah. Okay.
there you go.
I mean, I do occasionally. I'm just not methodical about hydration at all.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, you should work on that then, Liz.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
We
That's what-
agree with your reflexologist, Liz. Okay.
Yes.
I don't
didn't
see how
know
you
I
can
was
be
bloated.
dehydrated and bloated at the same time. So
No, I know. That's
Okay,
hard to do. That's hard to do.
okay.
Yeah.
Special
Yeah.
category.
I think I knew I was dehydrated and knew I was anxious. Did I really use the word bloated to describe myself? But she's right. She's right. They know. Anyway, there you go. It was a fantastic vacation with a lot of fun, and being with a group of fun people was just such a delight after, just a lot of isolation and
Right.
aloneness. So fun.
Well,
All right. So Julie, you went to another part of the world. You
I
went to
did.
Peru. Yeah.
I did. I had an adventure last week that you both would have hated. Okay. That's I went on a hiking and walking tour of Peru with my husband, my sister-in-law, Carrie, my brother-in-law, Phil. And we hiked and walked and ended up at Machu Picchu. So it was fantastic. But Lian, I mean, I think you would prefer COVID to this trip, okay? Because everything you hate was in this, okay? It was hiking, there was altitude, there was elevation, and there was nothing you would like. And I thought of you on the trail. I was like, Lian would hate this. And Liz, the Incas, they were crazy about steps. So
Yes.
we did steps with no guardrails, Liz, okay?
Yes.
We one hike that included coming down 700 steps. Okay.
Oh my
We did
God.
another one where you had to climb up 326 steps. Can you believe that?
And Julie, were you in shape to do this? I'm impressed.
Well, I mean, I do a lot of walking and hiking here in Dallas, but I don't do it at 11,000 feet or 8,000 feet. So it was a challenge. But the highlight was we did do a 1-day hike on the Inca Trail. Now, the Inca Trail is very long, over 40 miles, but you can hike and end up at the Sun Gate at Machu Picchu, up above Machu Picchu, and then the clouds open, and then you see this remarkable sight. So we signed up for the 1-day trek, and this, it showcased mountain scenery, flowers, wildlife. It was all great. But the start of the hike, first of all, you can't drive to Machu Picchu. You have to take a little train. That's the only way.
That sounds fun.
Okay, so it's good, Liz. But then they drop you off in the middle of the jungle. Okay, the train stops. All the hikers got out, and then the train went on. Okay, so there you were. And the first thing we had to do, Lian, is we had to go across really, literally an Indiana Jones style suspension bridge.
Oh, wow.
Rickety boards over a roaring river. And I mean, I was really scared, but the train had already left. So there was no turning back. I mean, I thought for a second, well, maybe I could just go back and stand there and the next train would pick me up. But no, you couldn't. But this is
not a commuter train.
No, it's not a commuter train, Liz. And we were in the jungle, which is fantastic. They have beautiful wild orchids, begonias, lantana, geraniums. I mean, the flowers are extraordinary. But Lian, I didn't see many of them at all because the one thing that I guess is part of my prep, I was enthusiastic about doing this, but I didn't really read a lot about the Inca Trail, is the Incas I was thinking it was like a jungle trail, but they have paved it with these giant rocks. The entire hike, it's an 8-mile hike, 2,000 feet of elevation up, 1,000 feet of elevation down, they are rocks in the jungle. So, and in some cases, the path was 3 foot wide. Other cases, it was 4 foot wide. And it's along the side of a cliff. Okay. So there was no way I could look up at these flowers. Okay. I had to keep my head down because and did I say it was raining, which was actually a good thing. Okay. I mean, because it's the jungle and it's super hot, and everyone in our group decided that it was much better that it was raining because it really would have been unbearable in the sun. We came across spectacular Inca ruins, but it was really, really hard. But I have to say what propelled me through this entire hike was the power of the group. We had great leaders, Chantal, Jose Tito, who just referred to us as Pumas because that's one of the symbols. You don't think I'm a Puma, Lian?
No. Okay, good. I mean, that's some good psychology there. Yeah.
Okay. Puma power, Lian. Okay. And there was great conversation along the trail with all the hikers. Of course, I couldn't really participate in a lot of it because I was breathing so heavily and had my head down. But I just have to give a Satellite Sisters $5 shout out to my fellow hikers, Barbara, Tanya, Michelle, and Wade, Bill and Alexandra. And of course, my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, Carrie and Phil. I mean, we started this, 8-mile trek as really strangers. And then when we finally made the last climb up these Inca steps, and, Incas had very small feet. So the steps were only maybe 5 inches. And my poor husband, who has size 12 foot, I mean, he was falling back off these steps. I mean, it was it was very dangerous, but the payoff was extraordinary when we arrived at the Sun Gate. And there we looked down on one of the 7 wonders of the world, Machu Picchu. So I did it. I'm never going to do it again, but I loved it.
And we're never going to do it either. So thank you for a really complete description.
You are never going to do it.
Wait, Julie, can I ask, isn't this a trip you had planned before COVID and it got canceled because of COVID?
Exactly, Liz. This was a trip from 2020 that we were going to go May 2020. So we've just been rolling it over and we finally went this year. I'm glad we went. Peru is just opening up. I mean, it was a great time to visit Machu Picchu because it wasn't very crowded. And we just had a great time. So well worth the wait. And a very exhilarating and renewing and refreshing vacation.
That's excellent. Great. And just for the record, I'd like to say vis-a-vis elevation, I'm all for it if I'm on skis. Okay. I like to ride things to the top of a mountain and then ski down. I'm all for it.
Okay.
But walking up and walking down, not that interested. But
it just made me laugh about how much you two would have hated.
Oh yeah, that sounds terrible. What you just described. Okay. All right. Stay with us. We're the Satellite Sisters. A big thanks to FrameBridge for supporting Satellite Sisters. FrameBridge makes it easier and more affordable than ever to frame your favorite things without ever leaving the house. From art prints and diplomas to the photos sitting on your phone. And this is the key, Liz and Julie. Photos sitting on your phone. Those are gifts waiting to happen for Father's Day. Right.
And FrameBridge makes it so easy, Lian, the way you can just upload those photos. You can test out what they look like in the various frames, or they have their advisors who can help you. It's just the gift you can, like, it's a 10-minute gift is what I think of it as.
So thoughtful, Liz. Yes.
Well, let's face it, Father's Day can be really hard. Okay.
Yes.
So there's only so many ties and only so many small electrical tools that you can give. But those photos on your phone, Julie, some of these select gifts the very next day, like it's 10 minutes and then it's arriving and it's done. It's a fun family photo. Maybe it's a hike the whole family took and managed to survive. I don't know, whatever you need to do for Father's Day, you can get it done and it can be right back at you. As Liz said, super easy. Go to framebridge.com. Okay. And just upload your photo. And FrameBridge will custom frame your item and deliver your finished piece directly to your door, ready to hang. And instead of the hundreds you'd pay at a framing store, FrameBridge prices start at just $39 and all shipping is free. And here's the key, because we got your back. If you're a Satellite Sisters listener, you're going to get 15% off your first order at framebridge.com when you use the code SATSisters. Order online at framebridge.com or stop by any FrameBridge store and you can work right with a designer. Okay. If you happen to live in New York, DC, Atlanta, Philly, Boston, or Chicago. So this is it. Your Father's Day gift done, graduation, wedding gift, engagement, baptism, bar mitzvah. Go to your phone, send the photo to framebridge.com, use the code SATSisters, an additional 15% off your first order. That's framebridge.com, promo code SATSisters, framebridge.com, promo code SATSisters. All right, Urban Nana is here and she has some words of wisdom and has to do with the KiwiCo crates, because your child or grandchild can get super cool hands-on science, art, and geography projects delivered right to their door every month. Urban Nana, it seems like it's go time here for the KiwiCo crates. Is that true?
It is, Liz. Lian, it's not words of wisdom. It's words of warning. Schools are closing. Okay. Some by the end of this month. Okay. It's going to be a long summer and you want to keep your children, your grandchildren engaged, stimulated. You want to have fun. There are going to be so many rainy days, hot days. You need this. So this is the time to stock up on KiwiCo crates.
What do you like about these crates, Joel? What do your grandkids like?
Well, I love the Atlas crates because I love to travel and I like the crates where I can really sit with my grandsons and we can talk about different parts of the world. There's a Peru crate that I'm thinking that I'm going to get. So I really can tell the kids in a more detailed, creative, stimulating way about my trip to Peru.
Oh, fantastic. Julie, that's great. As a parent, it can be hard to find creative ways to keep your kids busy and challenged, but KiwiCo does the legwork for you. Julie, if you had to gather the elements for this Peru crate, that would just never happen, but that's okay.
It would never happen, Lian. I'm just not that I just couldn't do it, Lian. So why? KiwiCo can do it. So
They already did it. They already did it.
Yeah, I don't mean to make you feel guilty. I'm sorry. That was a flashback.
My grandkids think I'm great, but let's be honest. Okay. Right. I need KiwiCo. Okay.
Yeah, they do the legwork for you. So you're spending the quality time tackling the projects together, not wandering around like gathering the materials. There's something for kids of all ages and there's no commitment. So you could pause or cancel your subscription at any time. If you are looking to entertain a child this summer, or a kid at heart, here's what you do. Celebrate the season of discovery with any KiwiCo subscription. Get 30% off your first month plus free shipping on any crate line with the code SISTERS at kiwico.com. That's 30% off your first month at kiwico.com, promo code SISTERS, and KiwiCo is KIWICO.com, promo code SISTERS. Urban Nana approved. Okay, we're back. Lian here with Julie and Liz. All right, so you guys know last week, I had to cancel my trip to Connecticut and New York because after 2.5 years, I finally tested positive for COVID. And I was just so
sorry. That's so sad.
I know, Lian, we were so bummed for you.
What a disappointment.
It was a huge disappointment, and it was very stressful. The first 24 hours was very stressful because I had been on a book tour for a month, right? Walking into a lot of rooms with a lot of people, doing my best to maintain some discipline and some, 6-foot rules. And a lot of my events were outside and I was washed a lot. But when you're the keynote speaker, you're moving. A lot of people want to talk to you. There's a lot of interaction. At some point I just had to kind of give myself over to the fact that this was a book tour and I was out on it. And so when I started to feel poorly, I was like, oh no. And it was about 36 hours before I was supposed to leave for my trip. So initially what can happen, and I'm sure other people have done this, is you just think irrationally, well, if I don't test, I won't have COVID.
Yeah. Right.
That's one
ask,
strategy.
Don't ask, don't tell. Yeah.
Right. So it was on Mother's Day. I was like, I could just not do this and then get on that plane Tuesday morning. And then I realized that, as part of my trip, not only was I appearing at the Pequot Library at Theodore's Books in Oyster Bay, Long Island, but I was also going to be seeing a lot of family and friends, including our Aunt Nancy, who is, for us, our oldest living relative. And I was going to be seeing our niece Megan and her 3 kids, who are our youngest living relatives. And I was like, I could literally take out everyone in the whole family if I really test and be very, very cautious about this. So it was 2 minutes where you're like, and then once you test, it's just, I couldn't believe it. So the first 24 hours was super stressful because I had to cancel everything. I had to cancel the events. I had to make sure that people who had bought tickets had refunds and things like that, because the library event was ticketed, a portion of it. I had to cancel all my travel. Then I had set everything up myself. So everything needed to be canceled. And I was grateful to the airlines and to the hotel for, fully refunding everything. I was very grateful for that.
Do they do that because you said you had COVID, or are they just refunding tickets anyway?
I think the airline's just refunding it. The hotel, I had used miles, and they had a no refund policy, but because I had COVID, they did refund it.
Okay,
and
nice.
What I appreciated most was I sounded so bad by that point when I was calling all the hotels and the airlines to cancel the rental car place, that people started giving me medical advice. There was no question that they felt terrible for me. I should go sit out in the sun. I should take it easy. A lot of medical advice from the people working in customer service. So I appreciated their concern. But I have to say this, at no point did I think, well, this seems just like a cold, because I know you've heard that a lot. I think what was technically mild symptoms, if there's actually like clinical definitions of mild, moderate, and severe symptoms. And I had a high fever for over 72 hours. So it was spiking to 103 repeatedly every 4 hours. And then I'd have to take more Tylenol. My brain was racing. The only way I can describe it. I was in a lot of trouble sleeping until I took some sleep aids 2 or 3 days in, and then just extreme fatigue. I did have some congestion. You can hear I still have that after 11 days. I still have some now. So I never felt like, oh, this doesn't seem bad. The whole time I was thinking, I hope this doesn't get any worse. This seems very scary to me. And I had some really good advice from people who had been through it before to just try to turn my brain off. I can't describe that in any more clear words. Like it's not something I wanted to power through. I was advised not to power through it, that you need to rest everything, including like your brain. So doing all the cancellation, doing all the emails. We had a show coming out that day. I had like a little bit to do the first 24 hours. And then I just did nothing for 72 hours because I had been advised, really rest your brain, which is,
well, there's
I tried to
something
do that.
they call COVID brain, Lian,
Yeah,
that's a real thing.
I definitely felt a lot of brain fog. I mean, take this as it will. Yesterday, a package arrived from Republic. I had no idea what was in it. Apparently I ordered something from Banana Republic. I was like,
while you were on COVID, you
is.
were like,
Yes.
you were ordering things.
Yes.
Good. Okay.
Yes.
Well, could have been worse. Yeah, could have been worse.
Right. So that, that being said, like the whole time I was just very aware that I wanted to give this a slow and steady recovery. I had to cancel everything for this week too. I had some personal things happening. I had one book event that I was doing in Oceanside, California, and I canceled all that too. So I took it very seriously because of things people had said. And, I wanted to minimize the effects, the chances that I was going to get long COVID. I was isolated upstairs in my bedroom, which I have to say, not terrible, frankly, after.
Good.
So your husband and
years.
your son did not come upstairs.
My husband and son did not come upstairs. My husband did a couple of times. He actually put a TV in upstairs. That's what he did for me on day one. We didn't have a TV in our bedroom. He's like, you're going to need this. He ordered a TV, put on a mask, installed the TV.
Nice.
Yes, it was super, super nice of him. And I did watch TV, everything. So, but, it was, I just took it, I would say I took it as seriously as I could. And I think these descriptions of, it's a mild cold, but it's not a mild cold. And I was really reminded of that because last week we passed the grim milestone of 1 million Americans dying from COVID. That's just a number that's incomprehensible.
So shocking.
2 years ago when we crossed the 50,000 threshold, and that seemed just devastating. And how could we ever come back from that? And so I was, very conscious that this was a virus that had taken a lot of people's lives, young and old, people with no pre-existing conditions. Boy, was I grateful that I had been vaccinated and boosted. I thought a lot about people that had contracted COVID before the vaccines were available and what their experience must have been like, because it's not a picnic, even with the vaccines.
Yeah.
So, I never lost sense of taste or smell. I didn't have a headache or body ache. So that seemed kind of strange, but I was grateful for that. But, the fever, the brain fog, the racing brain, the not being able to sleep, those were all, and it's kind of anxiety provoking to have.
Yeah, sure.
But one of the interesting things is that I've been out doing this speech for my book tour. And now I talked to about 10 large groups. In fact, right before I was diagnosed, I spoke to 150 women in Pasadena. And then the next day, later in the day, I was like, this isn't great. But I've been talking a lot about grief and loss because even though my book is a Parisian romp, an art history mystery, there is a pretty deep and serious storyline about grief and loss because the main character loses her dad in 9/11. So I had the opportunity in 2021 when I was doing the rewriting for Lost and Found in Paris, 9 years in the making, took me 9 years to get this book published, to think about now in light of COVID and how many people we've lost, and all of a sudden we're in this period of national loss and grieving and mourning, and how to take that information, and then it's very public, and then have some sort of private grief journey. I've been talking a lot about that in my speeches, and it's been very touching to people. I mean, I can see that it's resonating. I know people tell me, and this idea that we have all lost something in the last 3 years. And some of us have lost, the highest level of loss, if there's a level, is to have lost someone close to you, but we've lost moments and we've lost memories and, all the events that didn't happen and the trips of a lifetime and the graduations and the weddings. And we've all lost sort of maybe a little bit of a joie de vivre or sense of adventure. There's just a really wide range of losses. And so that was all coming to me last week as I was reading the stories and the impact of these 1 million deaths. And every single time I've done this speech, first of all, I cry, and then other people cry. So that's a good speech. You laugh, you cry, but every single time after it, someone has come up to me and said, I've lost my spouse to COVID. And and then they break down, and then I break down. So there's a lot of crying at my talks, but, But it's just a reminder that people have really lost a lot over the last couple of years.
Right.
Like, and it's immeasurable. And there's not a time frame on how we're going to get over that. Or, just because somebody says you can take a mask off in a public space doesn't mean our journey is over, that we crossed everything we've been through. So it just felt particularly impactful last week to have it. And we crossed this milestone, and I've been talking about this. And obviously this idea that loss is and grief is there's no timeline for that you can perfect. I don't know, just all really hit me last week. I found it was, so I felt terrible. I wasn't sleeping. I had the high fever, but I was also just super emotional about the whole experience. Just because it just seemed like it was all coming to a head. So, so I'm grateful to be on the mend now. I would say I'm about 90% of the way through, 95% of the way through the journey. I've been in isolation for 11 days now, so I'm free to roam about the country. I'm really cutting back on my schedule, but on the other hand, I'm very aware that I have that whole other book I have to write by the end of June. So that's
don't think about
oh my
that.
God, right. Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Don't think about that.
No, I know. So, but to people who were going to come see me in Connecticut and New York, I am trying to reschedule that. Looks like it might be October now. I was trying for September, but I'm trying to nail down a date with the library for October, but just didn't really do any work last week. So just trying to get back on. It's hard to schedule things when you're sick. I had a couple of people say, "Hey, do you want to do this or that?" No, I can't. Currently testing positive for COVID. Yeah. So, but thanks for all the kind messages. And I am trying to, get that rescheduled for the fall. So I'll be in touch, but I appreciate everybody was so supportive and such nice messages. So thank you.
Okay.
Well, thank goodness you're on the mend. Thank goodness.
I mean, and you go through it in an isolated way. It makes it even harder. It's not like you can have people around you while you're going through this. So we're glad you're on the mend.
Yeah. Yeah. So Julie, you're right about that. It's isolating, like, figuratively. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hey, well, we're going to switch gears a little. We're talking about other stories in the news this week. One is that McDonald's is the latest Western company to announce that they're exiting Russia. Liz, I think you'll like this term. They are de-arching from Russia.
Oh my God.
That's what
somebody thought that up in a meeting.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
So that means removing the golden arches from the land.
But Russia has 847 restaurants and they have a large number of employees. McDonald's has been in Russia for 30 years and they really were emblematic of Western companies trying to invest in post-Soviet Russia. When I lived in Russia, I can tell you that McDonald's was extremely popular with Muscovites. I mean, people would line up for burgers and fries. In fact, the McDonald's in Pushkin Square in Moscow was one of the top performing stores in the world. Okay. Russians love McDonald's. They love their burgers and fries. But what's also interesting is they always ate in the store as if it was fine dining. They didn't do takeout. No. The Russians wanted to sit down, enjoy, sit at the tables. So they are de-arching and they join a long list of Western companies that are walking away from really sizable investments, billions of dollars. They're joining other, car companies, oil companies that have just pulled out because of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. So
well, I remember, Julie, when we visited you in Moscow. Lian, you were there, right, on that trip?
Yes.
And we saw the huge McDonald's in Pushkin Square.
Yeah.
And all of the people. And you were telling us that like part of it is there was not in Soviet Russia, there was not really a flourishing restaurant scene.
Correct.
Because there was not very much food and also so much spying that the last thing people would do was eat in public, right?
Exactly, Liz. Yes.
And so the idea that McDonald's was flourishing was sort of a sign that things were changing,
right?
That their culture and their government and everything was opening up. So, wow.
Yep.
What a reversal. Just
Yes.
never worked out that way.
No,
It's very dramatic.
it is. It is to be de-arched. Yes.
All right. On a lighter note, last week in the depths of my COVID fog, I was like, post more graduation photos on our Facebook page because I had just started to see some, and there was just such joy in these photos. And graduations for the last couple of years have been, either non-existent or bound by all these rules or virtual, or only one person in the family could come. So it was just a real pleasure to see everybody's graduation photos, and the Satellite Sisterhood delivered. It was fantastic to see your high school photos or college. We had several doctors graduating.
Yes, I was impressed.
Very
Next
good.
doctors, please. Yes, get to work. We need
We
you.
had all kinds of cum laudes, magna cum laudes, high distinctions. We had a really smart group. Yeah.
Super smart group. We've got nurses, we've got educators, people getting their masters. Oh, it was just exciting to see all these photos. So yes, I want to encourage people to post more graduation photos in the Satellite Sisters Facebook group. Just very joyous to see. Thanks. I appreciated it. I did.
Well, Lian, Lian and Liz, I was actually looking at those graduation posts when I was in Peru, and maybe it was the high altitude or just being away from it all. I really started to think about what I would say to the 2022 graduates. I mean, let me just say, no one is asking me to give a graduation speech. Okay.
I was wondering.
No, but I did. I don't know. I just had moments to reflect, and I had like 5 things that I would say to graduates as the senior ranking satellite sister in the family. My first thing is, if I was talking to graduates, I'd say, take a breath. Let it sit overnight. While many other speakers are going to tell young graduates to follow their passion, I have found that I make better decisions, write better emails, posts, and general communication if I stop to think rather than react in the moment. So that's my first.
Solid advice.
Okay. Number 2, travel outside your comfort zone. For me, nothing has been more meaningful to my personal development than to travel and live in places where you do not have the same views or the same orientation as anyone else. It makes you humble and flexible. And I think those are 2 important characteristics that you need. 3, forgive yourself and forgive others. Love is forgiveness. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to screw up. You're going to hurt people. And in turn, others are going to do the same. But resentment won't get you anywhere. Love is really about forgiveness, and there's great power in forgiveness. 4, listen to this. It's very important. Aging equals drying. Okay.
Yes.
You have to start now. Okay. Moisturize everything you can possibly moisturize. That's what you do.
Hydration. It's a good hydration lesson for me too.
Aging equals drying. Just make a note. And finally, from our parents, Edna and Jim Dolan, and their book of life, I say, make your own good luck and remember that you go around once in life. So live your life with hard work, hope, and joy.
Oh,
how about that for a graduation?
Julie, very nice, Julie. Very nice. Very nice. Hit the road. Just start doing that freelance. To stand up at some malls, or I don't know.
On street corners. I have a
your own TED Talk, Julie. Just videotape it as a TED Talk. Post it. Go for it.
All right.
No, that was excellent advice, Julie. Great advice. All right, stay with us. We're the Satellite Sisters. When we come back, we have some entertaining sisters recommendations, some more books, and Liz, Cooking with Liz, still happening. Stay with us. Let's talk about shampoo and conditioner, shall we, Liz and Julie? Because it's pros time. It's pros time here at Satellite Sisters. Oh, we love Pros, the world's most personalized hair care. If you haven't tried Pros, we want to tell you about the incredible results we're seeing since using these customized Pros products. Liz, you're a believer.
Total believer.
Do you have lush, shiny, full, rich hair now?
Well, lush might be overstating it a little bit, but I think shampoo always gets all the attention. But for me, the key is conditioner, Lian. So I have kind of thin hair and it's short and it's dry here. And I wanted the conditioner that was just going to perk up my hair. And you fill out the quiz. They ask you all these questions about the environment and what you eat and what your activities are. And I just love my conditioner. It's just like, it's not just good for my hair. It's good for my mood, Lian. It just lifts me up. The whole thing. I love my Prose.
Plus, Prose has this pretty cool review and refine feature. So when you go to reorder, if there's something you don't like, you can tweak your formula for any reason. Maybe it's just as simple as a change of a dress or hair color, or maybe you've changed your diet a little bit. Prose wants to know, and they can tweak that personalized shampoo, conditioner, scalp massager. I like the spray, the leave-in conditioner. Do you use that, Liz? Was that on your list?
That was not on my recommended list, but I might try it anyway because that's always fun.
It is fun because you get to spray it on.
Yes.
Ooh, it's just make sure. I love it. I love this Prose shampoo. If you're not 100% positive Prose is the best hair care you've had, they're going to take your products back. No questions asked. And we like the fact that Prose is a carbon neutral certified B Corp. They're an industry leader in clean and sustainable beauty, and all their ingredients are sustainably sourced, ethically gathered, and cruelty free. And they're also the first custom beauty brand to go carbon neutral. Great news, Prose. That's terrific. So if you want to try Prose, here's what you do. Take your free in-depth hair consultation and get 15% off your first order today by going to prose.com/sisters. And Prose is prose.com/sisters. Prose.com/sisters for your free in-depth hair consultation and 15% off. Thanks, Prose.
Liz and Julie, I have a small business here in my house. That's right. It's Lian Dolan Incorporated. And I'm writing things and I'm sending things out. And I'm part of the larger book buying, book business ecosystem. And you know who helps me keep my small business running? Stamps.com. All right. Yeah, that's right. Time is money, Julie. And I don't want to waste either with repeated trips to the post office. Julie, I have things to write. Okay. I can't be standing in line at the post office. And with Stamps.com.
Oh, no one wants to stand in line with you at the post office.
That's very specific. And you're right. No one wants to stand in line with me at the post office.
No one.
Yes. Good point, Julie. Stamps.com. I can skip that trip and focus on what takes my small business to the next level. And, that's writing more. That's shipping more books out. That's shipping more promotional material out. That is getting stuff in the mail and getting stuff done. Stamps.com lets me print postage right from my computer and saves me time and money in the process. So less time at the post office, more time making my customers happy. Whether you're sending office invoices, a side hustle Etsy shop, or a full-blown warehouse shipping out orders, well, I'm somewhere in between all three of those. Stamps.com is going to make your life easier. All you need is a computer and a standard printer. No special supplies or equipment. You're up and running in minutes, printing official postage for any letter, any package, anywhere you want to send. Fantastic. So stop overpaying for shipping with Stamps.com. Sign up with promo code SISTERS for a special offer that includes a 4-week trial, free postage, and a digital scale. I love my digital scale. I just like knowing what things weigh, you guys. I like it.
Sure. Yeah. Why not?
Okay. So no long-term commitments or contracts. Just go to Stamps.com. Click the microphone at the top of the page and enter the code SISTERS. Stamps.com. Click the microphone at the top of the page. Enter the code SISTERS. Thanks, Stamps.com, for keeping me running.
Okay, we are back. This is Liz, and I have a little Cooking with Liz update. So I decided that for this week, I wasn't around last week. Several people posted, is Cooking with Liz on this week? Thank you for your interest. I really appreciate that. I've been doing these short live cooking segments now on the Satellite Sisters YouTube channel. They started at the very beginning of COVID, and God knows I had no notion of continuing this long. So I'm looking for a new concept. So I'm working on that. But in the meantime, I feel like, given the fact that I just came back from a wellness resort, that this weekend I would do a wellness dish, sisters. Something that
What does that mean?
whenever you're at these fitness, wellness, spa things, there are a couple of things they always have. Of course, they always have the cucumber water, which obviously I've not been drinking for many years. So got to start drinking that. They start every day with two things, right? They start with a smoothie, don't they? And as you know, I've been living the smoothie lifestyle for quite a while. So I don't need to teach myself any more smoothies. But the other thing they always have at these places is wellness muffins. You know what I mean? There are always those little muffins that are made of like seeds and stuff. And
yeah.
That's stuck in your teeth. Oh, those sound good, Liz. Yeah.
So I don't know
if whipping up.
I don't know if making a muffin actually counts as cooking, but I've been very inspired over the last couple of years by Shalane Flanagan. You know, I'm working mainly in the track and field world right now. And Shalane Flanagan, she's an Olympic medalist in marathon. She's won the New York City Marathon. You may recall that last year she was the one who ran 6 marathons in 7 weeks. She's retired now and in her spare time running 6 marathons in 7 weeks. Anyway, Shalane Flanagan has also published several cookbooks. The most recent one is called Run Fast, Cook Fast, Eat Slow. So I can't do the first thing, no chance, but this is recipes for hangry people. So, you know, we love that word here. Her first cookbook was a bestseller called Run Fast, Eat Slow. Anyway, she's very famous, sisters, not just for winning the New York City Marathon, but for making these muffins that she calls superhero muffins. So that's what I'm going to make this Saturday on Cooking with Liz. I'm going to make a muffin. That's all. Okay. A couple weeks ago, I made a salad. Seemed like enough. Now I'm going to make a muffin, but it's a wellness muffin.
Okay. Do you have a muffin tin, Liz? Do you have muffin tin?
Yes. I think early in COVID, I bought a muffin tin wasn't I making some meatballs or something where they said, cook it in the muffin tin? It's a good question, Julie. I'll have to go look.
Okay.
Go look and see if I have that. Anyway, so Saturday.
These look good. I'm looking at the recipe list.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Yummy. Yeah.
And she's got like dozens of different kinds. So I might make the apple carrot, but I haven't finished. I know I'm not going to make the one. There's one that is beet blueberry molasses. I'm not making any muffins with beets in them. That is not happening. Anyway, I'll post the recipe that I'm making in the Satellite Sisters Facebook group, but I'll be live on YouTube this Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. So that's 5 p.m. Eastern. And we're just going to make a wellness muffin. And maybe I'll drink some water for you so you can see all that.
Whoa, Liz. That
I know. Well, that's what I mean about trying to find a new concept.
Water.
Yeah, I feel like I need to move on from cooking. And I'm looking for a concept. But in the meantime, I'm going to make a muffin. There you go.
Okay. Just drinking water. That's where
drinking
we're at
water.
now.
That is going to be a showstopper.
Drinking water live.
All right. We have some entertaining sisters recommendations. I mentioned my husband bought me a TV. So I watched a lot of TV, mainly because my brain was so scrambled and foggy. I couldn't read. There wasn't any reading going on. So now I've seen literally everything on some streaming services. I did subscribe. I did the free 7-day trials on a bunch of new apps. And then I canceled after I watched the 1 or 2 things I wanted to. So I can tell you over at Paramount Plus, the only thing over there worth watching is the first 2 seasons of The Good Fight, which I hadn't seen. It's just, I love The Good Wife. And this is the, streaming only version of that with Christine Baranski. After season 2, to just it starts to cave in on itself, but the first 2 seasons are good. Okay. But then I watched Sweet Magnolias on Netflix.
Oh yeah. How is that, Lian?
I've never even heard of that. What is that?
Liz, this is one that wouldn't even come up in your suggestions because it's based on a series of books about a group of friends in the South. So it's very Southern. The storylines are very gentle, which is why I could watch it last week. There's a lot of, the dialogue is not sharp. It's very soft. very, very
Okay.
rounded edges, as I would say. And so I have some questions for the Southerners in the audience, because some of the things that they do in the show repeatedly, I was like, is that really what happens in the South? So first of all, 90% of the scenes in Sweet Magnolias involve a beverage of
Well,
some kind.
it's
okay.
hot in the
There's
South. Okay. Liz needs to hydrate. So
Mhm.
yes, people are drinking tea, sweet tea. That makes sense, Lian.
Yes, there's tea, there's coffee, there's sweet tea, there's margaritas, there's wine. But Julie, every single beverage has a giant slice of lemon in it. Like it's
That's a
Oh,
good.
see,
detail.
you were not suffering brain fog. Look at your sharp observations, Lian.
That's a
Big
good
slices of lemon. Some people wouldn't even notice that.
I mean,
cut
is
the
that
lemon. Is that your production notes?
right? I just thought, is that an art direction choice, or is that actually is it mandatory that every beverage is served with just a prominent citrus? Okay, so that's one. Puff sleeves. Do women in the South just a lot of puff sleeves?
I love puff sleeves. Okay, don't say anything wrong about them.
No, I'm not. I mean, I have large shoulders, so the last thing in the world I would ever wear is puff sleeves, right? I don't need any more puff on my sleeves. But you are slim shouldered, so yes, they look good on you. But every woman in the show has a lot of puff sleeves. So question about that. And then two, a lot of the dialogue is quotes upon quotes upon quotes. Like my mama says, or my granddaddy always says, or like Emily Dickinson says, like 3 or 4 times in a 1-hour episode, someone being one of their dead relatives. Is that something that happens a lot?
Well, I did quote our mother and father.
Okay.
Just saying.
Okay.
Julie, you are really absorbing the culture there. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
What it was in my graduation speech is
Yeah.
to get out of your comfort zone. Okay. Lian, I think you should move immediately to the South.
Lot. So I just like those 3 answered about Sweet Magnolias. Very gentle show. Worth watching if you're in isolation or quarantine. Totally.
Well, that's quite a review, Lian. Okay.
Yes.
In the what not to read on the plane department, I want to recommend Adriana Trigiani's new book. It's historic fiction, The Good Left Undone. Now, Trigiani wrote the best-selling The Shoemaker's Wife. Did you ever read that book? That was pretty good.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
She's a good writer. Yeah.
She's
I
a
like her.
very good
Trigiani.
writer.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and while I feel like I've already read every book that ever needs to be read or written about World War II,
I know.
somehow Trigiani's book focuses on a family and built around it a historic fact, which is kind of interesting, that Italians living in Great Britain and Scotland were rounded up as World War II started and interned or deported to Canada because the Brits feared that they were conspiring with Mussolini.
Oh.
So they went, I had never heard that before.
No.
I didn't know that either.
Okay, see, I read the book. So this is a lovely book. It's an interesting story. It's very sentimental, and it's a sob fest at the end. So that's why I don't recommend reading it on a plane, but I think it's a very good historic fiction, The Good Left Undone.
Okay.
All right. Well, Julie, I just want to remind people last week we did publish our best beach bag books list, and then we had our accompanying podcast. I wasn't able because of my illness to get any kind of pep talk out or anything, but I will in the coming weeks. But we have a great list of books there, including historical fiction, if you like it. I was keenly aware of all the World War II historical fiction, so it's hard to avoid. I do have one pick in that category, Angels of by Elise Hooper. This is about the war in the Pacific. So the group of nurses known as the Angels of the Baton. So these were nurses that were held during the occupation of the Philippines in World War II.
Lian, can you say that title one more time? Because you cut out a little bit. What is it?
It's Angels of the Pacific.
Angels of the Pacific. Okay.
By Elise Hooper. So I thought it was a little like a slice of World War II historical fiction that I hadn't read a lot of. So she's a wonderful writer. We talked to her a couple of years ago about her Olympic book, Fast Girls. And so this is well-researched and character-driven and just sort of a stunning story. So that is on our Best Beach Bag Books list, as are several other titles of historical fiction, if that's your genre. So the list is, of course, in the show notes. You just go right to our website where it says blog. You can find it. It's all over the place. I'll be sending out a special book-related pep talk, not this week, but next. But lots of good historical fiction on our list.
Good.
Nice.
All right. I got one really funny Facebook post that I wanted to mention about Lost and Found in Paris. Again, thank you so much for all the support for that book. People really do seem to be enjoying it, which is really great. I can't say that enough. Good word of mouth is my best marketing tool. So if you feel compelled to share the book or share a review on Amazon or Goodreads or share it with your book club, fantastic. But I had to like this very honest post from Eileen over in our Facebook group. And she said, all right, I admit it. I was suspicious of all the rave reviews of Lost and Found in Paris. I figure we all love Lian and we are the generation raised to always be polite. But mon Dieu, she nailed it. Complex story, beautiful descriptions, compelling characters. I loved it. Oh, Eileen, I love you.
I mean, so funny.
That's a good post. Thank you, Eileen.
So the rest of you who are thinking that, see, Eileen loved it.
I mean, that's it. If I can win over Eileen, I have achieved my professional goals. So that's it. She was skeptical. I won her over. Thank you, Eileen. And thank you for the many, many people that have said really nice things about the book. I don't like, my book tour is technically sort of wrapping up because I have to go write this other book. But I'm going to be out and about in the fall, I think, doing some more stuff. There's definitely, there's another Bring Your Own Book Club, a free Crowdcast book club event in June. There's all kinds of things still happening. A couple of things still happening about Lost and Found in Paris. I'm doing some private book clubs, so you can find out information on that at my website. So all that's still happening, but I thank you, Eileen, for that comment. Really made me laugh.
Oh, Lian, thank you also for it. You gave me, I bought a big batch that you signed that I brought on my vacation. So much beach reading of Lost and Found in Paris among the people on vacation. People were loving it and they don't even know you. They don't even, Eileen, these people, my friends, they don't know Lian. Maybe a few of them do, but most of them had never heard of Lian Dolan. They were just loving it, like just amazed, like, wow, your sister actually wrote this. I'm like, yes, this is what writers do. They make up these amazing fun tales. So much appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. That is our show for today. I'm glad I made it through. Happy to be here. A big thanks to our engineer, Sergio Enriquez. Thank you, Sergio, for making us sound great. Emily Loudermilk does our graphics. If you want to see Emily's work, just follow us on Instagram at Sat Sisters or subscribe to Pep Talk. You can find the subscription bot or whatever it's called, pop-up, the subscription pop-up if you go to satellitesisters.com. It's a reminder, Liz, that we do have a fully functioning website, don't we?
We have so much on the web. Lian said that she has the blog post there. People don't even know we have a blog post, but all of the episodes are there. The history of Satellite Sisters is there, satellitesisters.com. We also have a full YouTube channel too. So also just good. It's more
going to be drinking water on it this weekend.
Drinking water live, Julie. See, that's the thing. But there's a lot on the Satellite Sisters YouTube channel that is not Cooking with Liz. We post all the podcasts there now. So if you have a friend who is, say, not a podcast listener, so they don't really know how to do that, have the apps on their phone, they don't get that. Now you can just go to the Satellite Sisters YouTube channel and forward them the podcast on YouTube because everyone knows how to use YouTube. So I suggest that.
Right. You can't see us. It's not a video podcast. It's just a podcast. So that
it's the audio. It's the audio, but still easy.
All right. That is our show for this week. All right. What's on our to-do list? I'll just start. Mine is to lay low. That's it.
Good one.
Laying low.
Yes.
I'm not venturing out yet. I'm laying very low this week. Julie, how about you?
I'm going to vote, Lian. We have primaries here, early voting in Texas. And these are not for, these are down ballot positions, but those are really important to vote for. I hope everyone gets out and gets out to vote.
Good. Yeah. What's
Liz?
Well, now that I've had my vacation, I actually have quite a bit of work to do this summer. As I've mentioned, I work in track and field, and America, we are about to have the biggest summer of track and field we've ever had in the history of the United States. So I'm working on the World Championships, which happens at the end of July in Eugene, Oregon, but everything really starts now. So starting next week, it's going to be a lot of track meets in my future. Got to get ready. So time to buckle down, sisters.
Yeah, get that hydration up, Liz.
Yes.
For your performance.
Yeah. And I'm going to, and no doubt I will come across Shalene Flanagan so I can get muffin tips from Shailene.
Really good. Really
I'm sure I'll run into Shailene maybe Memorial Day weekend.
Okay.
Oh, Shailene. Why am I saying Shailene? Shalane. I'm sorry, Shalane. Shailene is Woodley. No. Okay. Shalene Flanagan. There you go.
All right. That's our show for today. Thanks so much for joining us. Hey, sisters, have a great week.
You too,
Lian.
And don't forget, call your satellite sister.